I just got the car washed. Who would get their car washed while the snow is so disgusting? Me. That's who.
Shout out to all the PhDs. I look at this. With your sexy head.
All right.
Where's King Ike?
I am the king and will not be. I am the king and will not be.
Ooh. Hello, hello. How are you? How are you all? I'm wearing flip-flops. Sovereign green. Thank you. Who would get their car wash right now? Me. Yeah, no one will get a car wash, right? But let me just say this to you. The car washes, the few that are out here, they're open. And they usually get, they're not going to make a lot of money, but you're going to get like the cab drivers. They're going to get their cars washed. You're going to get the late night guy like me who's riding, who's like just, what it really truly was is that I could hear underneath the wheels the snow buildup. It was so much snow buildup. I don't want these big pieces of chunks of snow underneath the tires. I had a bad experience with that with the Volvo, the XC90 that we had, where it was just this big huge chunk of ice underneath the wheel, throwing the whole ride off. So I'm gonna listen to Kevin Samuels as we ride. This is Jerome Avenue in the Bronx. And the car is going to come back very dirty when I get home, and I'm not going to care. And it was only $7 for the exterior car wash that I just came from. Whoever just put that big text. Sorry, I might not read that. But people in the chat can get together and get along, I'm going to put Kevin on real quick. Let me see where he's at.
This is going to be time to exercise some demons to strike on you.
I rebuke.
We're going to have to exercise some demons, and you know what happens when you start exercising them demons?
No, I'll take local. I was just going to jump on the Major Deegan. Looks like somebody got smacked. Oh, with the plow. Yeah, let's take local.
Eggs Benedict. That's what's up. So, tonight, we got to discuss some things. But before we get into it, people, moderators, you have the room. You got the floor. Remember, all I ask is one thing. Keep the engagement up over 50%. Keep the engagement up so we don't have to hear the intermission song play like this. If you don't want to hear the intermission song, keep the engagement up over 50%. Last broadcast, we delved into a different topic. And tonight, we're going to follow up on a couple of things. But last night, for those you don't know, I was on Clubhouse last night. Monday, we discussed are modern women overqualified for marriage. And I've dropped a couple of videos since then, well, snippets of other shows to help get people kind of caught up to some of the things that are going around over here. But last night, I decided to go over to Clubhouse. I was invited by a friend and said, maybe you should go over to Clubhouse and talk to people one-on-one. And I actually like the Clubhouse platform. I'm not going to front. I think it's pretty cool. Shout out to Isaac Hayes III. Yes, that's Isaac Hayes. His actual son. It's his platform. So my brother started it. I'm going to support it. And the premise last night was the gender war is over. Time to negotiate the peace. Now, Clubhouse is pretty interesting in the fact that we're going to see how it works. The rooms can be either open, social, or closed. I left it open. And from what I understand about the platform, is taking off. Last night, when I ended the broadcast, ended the show, it only went about 90 minutes. We had 1,440 people. Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot of people. What that tells me is that people are interested in what's going on here right now. And here's the thing. Take that moment in time for what it is. Thank you, Teresa. Take that moment in time for what it is. Not for what people will have it be. Not have somebody take the narrative and speak for me. I can speak for myself.
I just paused it for a second to say that the app that he's referring to, it's you can only use an iPhone to get onto this app, and it's all voice. Just a lot of people speaking in a chat room kind of a thing, the way chat rooms used to be, but this is more I don't think it's that big of a difference. This is nothing new. There's nothing new under the sun, but he's really into this app, so that's what he was talking about.
There are plenty of people trying to interpret what I do or interpret what. No, I'm good. I got it. But what I really wanted to talk about was this whole thing, average at best, and if you don't change or moderate, you're going to die alone. That is what seemed to hit so many people hard in this.
Yeah, he went viral recently when he spoke to a woman who had a 13-year-old son who was 35 years old, who started, she had a dog grooming business, and she wound up calling the show on the day where the show was geared on, like, you know, only call in if you have a complaint about something. But what she wanted to know was, where can she find a man, and why can't she get a man who makes more money? And he was like, well, call in another day, you know. And she's like, no, I want to call. I want to talk about it now. Please, take me. Come on. He's like, yeah, but that's not the topic of the show. So she was one of those kind of real pushy kind of a chicks. And he was like, all right, you know what? You see, this is a car wash we just drove by to the right. See, I'm not the only one getting car washes. Look at this. Watch. That is a car wash right there. So this woman, she was pretty rude, and you know, he was trying to explain to her that, you know, what's wrong with an average looking guy? Why you need a guy with 6 figures? You know, guys that got 6 figures are not looking for girls like you. And she had originally said how she looked. She was like, yeah, I'll give myself a 5 or a 6, knowing that she listens to his show and that he wouldn't give her anything more than probably a 6 or 5, you know. So she said it first. Then he just said, listen, with your attitude and the way you are, not willing to give the average man a chance, because you're an average woman, you need an average man. You know, you don't need a 6-figure guy. You know, get you a guy making 50, 60 grand, 30, 40 grand, whatever it is. You're not gonna get a high value man. You're just average, and if you keep this up, you're gonna die alone. So that's what he's talking about.
The whole dying alone. And what I don't understand is, how can we as such educated, intelligent people, business people, not realize that if you're single and you don't get married, you will die alone. It's like women have just not been paying attention. So when I say something like
Danger zone!
27 to 35, when you really need to start focusing on your mating and dating options if you want to have children, honestly, I've had women say, that's the first time I've actually had someone break it down to me like this, and I need to focus. Well, here's the other part. If we don't decide we're going to change anything up, just like many other women have come by who support what I said and said, yeah, if the young lady chooses not to change or reduce her or get more realistic about her dating standards, options, and things like that, she will not find someone. And eventually, as all human life does, it expires. If you don't find someone and your human life expires, put those together, and that's die alone. So I've actually heard women say, well, I would rather, instead of settling, I would rather die alone. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. What's up with all this settle talk? Why is it always settle? Like, nobody ever told you to settle, but it's like,
Whatever, I'll do what I want.
Do I go through Harlem or do I just jump on the FDR Drive? Should I take local? It's so late already. I don't know. Let me know, what should I do? Should I go locally or hit the highway?
is just make a choice and be happy with it, because it seems to be that I'm getting so many mixed messages that I'm not going to settle, I'm not going to change, but then that means you should be happy with your position. Don't be upset. And what I'm starting to really see is it's the women who are in their mid to late 30s and above that really have the issue. The professional, more educated, higher earning women who are not finding suitable mates. And we're gonna go ahead and get into the PhD remix.
This is the remix.
The PhD.
Like, if you have a PhD.
I'm a PhD.
This is the remix.
That's the PhD mega remix for all the high class, upper echelons. Don't you love when people say that? Upper echelons. Upper echelon. I ain't gonna settle for nobody.
Whatever, I'll do what I want.
You get the PhD remix because no one's trying to make you settle. So when somebody like myself just comes along and just says what he's heard, what he understands, what he knows, I get accused of being narcissist, bitter, misogynist. But my question is, ladies, you've been told the opposite or what's soothing to your ears for the last 30 years. Look on your left ring finger, and is there a wedding ring of a man of any value on there? If not, it's fair to say what's being told to women today is not working, in that it's not producing the desired outcome. So what I'm finding is that many women would rather be pandered to.
Facts.
Hey, Panda Bear. Many women would rather be pandered to. Pandered to what they want. Well, actually, that's not even, that's the Panda Bear that's Don't look over here. Don't pay any attention to that man over there in the suit with the lights and the creepy. Don't pay any attention. No, no. Many women would rather be actively pandered to by what I consider the hyperactive panda. Panda on overdrive. Who is that? The panda on overdrive? Come on, hyperactive panda bear. There he is. The hyperactive panda bear on overdrive. He even has a song.
Circus, Afro circus, Afro circus, Afro, polka dot, Afro.
Give him another one. There you go. You would rather your PhD remixing your Panda Super Circus. There you go.
Circus, Afro circus, Afro circus, Afro, polka dot, Afro.
Even with polka dot tie for the polka dot circus. Because many women are actually proving or stating or moving or acting as if that dying alone is better than actually moderating, changing, addressing what's going on. So I want to play a little bit of what happened on another platform, and I'm going to ask, is this better than dying alone? Let's get into it. Is this better than dying alone? Okay, give me again.
Circus, Afro circus, Afro circus, Afro, polka dot, Afro.
In this moment, yes, I cannot say what's wrong or right.
The woman that has the business or whatever, the 6 at best or whatever you had said. And I'm just really curious as to, since that video has happened.
It looks like he's playing a clip. I'm not sure.
And have you reached out to her to maybe just say anything like, I'm sorry that, it came across the way that it did, or, anything to her to just kind of say like, maybe my tone or maybe what I said and my frustration that you weren't respecting, what I was trying to do that night with my show led me to act the way that I did. Because when I saw it, I was stunned.
Well, you know what I find interesting? This is a rebroadcast of Clubhouse, and I want you to understand a couple of things.
And Clubhouse is that app.
So many women feel free to talk to guys. Now, I don't want to focus on this, but let me to act. Just listen to the word choice. Is it you expect the man who was running a business when a woman who was an avid viewer of the show called in on an inappropriate day, and I did my level best to talk to this woman, irrespective of my platform. And for 23 minutes, I tried to give her exactly what she wanted. So, and no, has she called me to say, you know what, sir, I'm sorry for calling in on the wrong day. I know I should have did that. I'm sorry for not paying attention, picking up my phone, doing that. I'm sorry for laughing and acting inappropriate. See, but that's the way the conversation's always been. It's always on the black man to bend over backwards and come back to queen black woman and beg for your forgiveness. It ain't gonna happen. I said what I meant, and I meant what I said. That's why it's up.
Okay, and that's fine. Okay, so you didn't. So my thing is,
I didn't, nor should I. I didn't, and I don't, and nor should I have been expected.
Okay, and that's fine. That's your it's your show, it's your decision. But this is the other thing. If you are because I'm on television as well, and if you have your own show and somebody is doing something that you find disrespectful to your show, just like you hung up on me, you could have hung up on her. You know what I'm saying? Like, you didn't even have to continue having the conversation.
Please don't tell me what I should or should not do.
I didn't say it. I said you could have.
Look, Rochelle, I could have done a lot of things, but I did what I did.
Yeah, I know you did. I'm just saying.
Okay, but here's the thing. You're just saying, but here's the thing. I find it very rich. We are always telling men what we should do. They told Kevin Kelly what he should do in his restaurant too. He put $1 million plus into a business during the pandemic to employ black people. And because he said, get the fuck out, I don't need your money, they wanted to cancel the brother. 82% of men say there are no marriageable women on the market.
He's talking about that guy in Dallas who told the women to you know, I don't want your money if you're gonna keep acting like this. He told them several times, stop twerking, stop getting on top of the tables and doing splits and all this kind of craziness and popping their wop all around. And that's what he was referring to, the Kelly person. I honestly blame the DJ. You know, I was in the bar business, the club business for over 12 years, and I know the business very well. And the way you control a situation like that is through the DJ. The DJ shouldn't have been playing that song. The DJ could have turned it into 15 minutes of the 1980s. You know, he could have, you know, it was the DJ who controls that room. So the owner didn't have to go all out crazy like that. You know, these girls were out of control, and I'm with the owner on that. But it's the DJ's fault. It's a rookie mistake the owner made, not a big one. It's just a rookie mistake.
When are you late? What I'm referring to is a community post I put on my wall. It's still up. Roughly 81% of the over 14,000 men that responded says that the question was, are modern women qualified to be married? Or are there enough qualified marriageable women on today's market? Basically, when you look, men, we got on the market, does the market have enough qualified marriageable women? And the answer overwhelmingly came back no. I asked the same question to women on YouTube and Instagram, and women said only about 30% of women said there's not enough qualified marriageable men. 8 out of 10 men said there are not enough women to marry, worth marrying, qualified to marry. But 3 out of 10 women said the men are not enough. That's something we need to pay attention to. It's going to start listening to men instead of telling us what we should do.
Exactly. I didn't say, okay.
Yes, you have.
I did not say I didn't say you had to do that, but what I'm saying is.
Why would you think it's on my, why would you think it's on me to reach out to this woman and call her? She is not a poor
we
wounded
moved past that, Kevin.
Hold on, no, I want you to understand something. This woman is in her 30s. I'm in my 50s. But I want you ladies to understand how easy and simple it is for so many women, black women in this state, to talk to black men like we're children, as if you are our mother. Does anyone getting the sense that this woman does not feel as though she is my equal or my superior? This is the problem, ladies. It won't work. You cannot talk to men like you are a man and expect to get anything other than aggression. We are not your property. We don't owe you anything. And men are tired of having to mute themselves, edit themselves when you guys see no reason to do the like. This is how she came on to the platform. Not 18 minutes into a conversation. They come through the door this way. And they have the nerve to talk about my tongue. How ironic. Oh no, but the thing is, hold on. But my question is, I didn't ask you a follow-up question. Why would I need to follow up with a middle-aged entrepreneur, 35-year-old business owner, mother of one, to coddle her feelings like she's a wounded little bird? That's
not what I said. I asked you I asked you if you did. I didn't say that you should have. I didn't say that you needed to. I just asked you a question. That's it. You didn't do it. Okay, moving on. I never said you needed to do anything. I just asked. But you asked a question for a reason. Okay. And the thing is, if I were Gordon Ramsay, if I were Simon Cowell, I wouldn't be asked, well, did you say, did you really have to be the way you, when you told that person they are ghastly singer, did you send them a message and say, I shouldn't have said it? How you Simon Cowell is a narcissist and an asshole too. So I mean,
T-O-O.
Misogynist, narcissist. I need you to understand how easy these words are starting to fly out of women's mouths towards men. These words mean things. You have an opinion, you're bitter. Who hurt you? Excuse me. As if, anyway, ladies, that stuff won't work either. You gotta stop this. Like that's gonna shut a guy down. As if you've been hurt means you can't speak about something. It's an attempt to shut you down, mute you so you'll stop. Because if you continue to talk about it, it continues to hold the mirror up and they're sitting here looking at what the options are like. I didn't make the statistics, I didn't make the marketplace. But the older we all get, the less likely you're going to find your ideal. Two.
Between them two.
Oh, okay, two. Interesting, two.
He said it as well, too.
I think it's funny. I'm sorry to step in. I think it's really funny that a lot of people are so uptight or concerned about your tone when you spoke with her. When again, like you said, she called in. She was a listener, so she should be used to your tone and how you present whatever dialogue that you're having. And she asked you questions that you were specifically answering, and she was ignoring. And I think it's a little funny that so many people feel that you were out of line when you were very clear. To me, you were extremely patient. And I also think that the woman was not expecting you to be as thorough as you were, because she was not really prepared. And so I don't think she deserved an apology at all. It wasn't a situation that required it. She should have taken the information as you gave it to her, and hopefully she'll put it forth, and maybe she'll get that 6-figure guy that she thinks that she's,
Well, see now, so of course, and I've been told that I've cursed the woman out. Get the likes up. Come on, man.
Yeah, he likes his likes at 50% of whoever's watching. And I think he has like 10,000 people watching, minimum. And a lot of that flow he got is because of this show with this woman when he went viral.
I said bra. I said damn. In the context of got a goddamn nerve. I said bra, and I said get the fuck off my phone. Over the course of a 23-minute conversation, that was. We should be over 3,000 likes. Yeah, I've cursed this. 3,100. I've heard some of the most disingenuous responses from women. I've heard grown women that are about 10 years older than this one call this woman a young, helpless woman, and da 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 da. Here's the.
Hello to everybody out there.
Men are not going to speak to you like women. And if you need us to speak to you like women, go get a woman. Men are fed up with this narrative. And you say we're hurt, you're bitter, you're this. What's going on with the last 30 years of media in the image of black men? Men are speaking their truth. And men are speaking what they're saying, and you're not going to silence them, shame them. You're not going to maneuver them, because here's what ends up happening. Like it or not, of the black men who marry and go to college and have a bachelor's or higher, 30% marry out. Why? We want to say they hate themselves. They're self-haters. They can't deal with a strong black woman. But you never ask the men why. We never ask the men why they're doing what they do. We just chastise them for doing what they do. This is a very important point. Women, stop assuming you know men and why we do what we do. It is painfully clear and obvious that you don't understand or know men. You need to start asking questions instead of assuming so much. But again, if you coming at a man like a parent, you coming at a black man like you his parent, that's the kind of certitude many of you ladies come at men like you're a parent, an owner of some sort. You didn't make us. You don't know the people you talk to. Ask a question. And my show has proved in for 6 months, night in, night out, what women want. And I don't judge what they want. I just ask, what's the likelihood of you getting it, and what does the kind of man that you want from a woman? And that's when it starts to fall apart. Why is it such a difficult ask to get the average sister to see where the men are coming from, especially the men that you say you want? I don't get it, but we're gonna keep it going. Raise your hand. And I will say this too to the men. Here's my challenge to the men, especially if you're one of the men that falls in this category. You guys need to stop being quiet. I know you have jobs. I know we have the cancel culture, but of the thousands of responses, women think that it's a minority of men because they're not hearing it. And unfortunately, we all have something to do in this regard. It's not just for content creators or these people. It's for average, everyday folks to start telling the truth. Here's over the holidays. When you go back home to your family, say what you really think and stop telling women what you believe they want to hear just to keep the peace. If you want a different outcome. Let's see. We got a lot of people with their hands raised. So, I'll go to Jared. You're next up. Jared. Oh, okay. All right, cool.
Agree with. I feel like that woman that came on, she sold herself short. I think you asked her like to rate herself, and she said she was a 5, and I think she should have rated herself much higher if she.
Why? Ladies, this is a common refrain. You're gonna hear this many times. Lady said, I feel like that woman came on and sold herself short. I feel like she should have came on and rated herself much higher. Listen to me and listen to me well. That is not reality. You can call yourself whatever you want in your 4 walls, but outside, you have a number on you. You can think you should be able to go to Harvard, Princeton, Yale, Stanford, MIT, but either you have the grades or you don't. So many women honestly, truly think and believe they can wish upon the power of sunshine and make themselves be something higher than they are just because they want it to be. Have all the confidence you want in yourselves, lady, but don't lie to yourselves. This is a real problem. That so many women think that they can just call themselves a 10, call themselves an 8, call themselves a 9, and you're going to think you're going to convince the world that just because you're confident in saying it, that it's going to change. It does not.
That's a fact.
This is why there's a growing segment of men that are saying that women are delusional. The woman was accurate in her assessment. The common refrain is, I've heard people say that woman was very attractive, very good. Well, there may be people who think she's very, very attractive. There may be somebody that thinks she's overall hideous, but most people said she was around average. And average, normal is not a bad thing.
Exactly.
But we have to get to the point to where, well, ladies, if you want a different outcome on the market, you need to understand what you bring to the market, your sexual marketplace value. And many of you, I would say the vast majority of you, are overvalue yourselves based upon the market. This is something that you ladies are going to have to understand and overall accept, because the market gets to decide. I know that's going to piss some people off, but that's the truth. Why?
I don't
You
think she
know,
believes she was a 5 either.
But
I
why?
feel
But my question is, when did it become so? Most people are average or normal.
I feel like, okay, so you told her she was average at best. So I was not offended by that. That is
What does that
common
mean? Let me
stuff.
explain what average at best means.
Uh-huh.
When you are a 5 when you wake up, that means most of the times you are average. At best, you are a 6. So over your lifetime, you're average at best, and we're only getting older. Gravity is only taking more of effect. We know how this works.
Okay, so aside from that, I think what Rochelle is referring to is like, and what you said is you called her broad, you told her to get the F off of your phone. I think, as you said, men don't need to speak to women as women. Then what should they speak to them as? Like,
No, speak to men. No, we don't need to speak to women like we're women.
oh, like you're women. Okay, I
Right.
understand. But the thing is, like, it was your delivery. If that's how you decide to deliver things, it's okay. Everybody has their way.
No,
It's fine.
actually, really, let's be honest. Really, it isn't really. It's not okay. It's
I
not
mean,
okay, or else it wouldn't be such a backlash.
Okay, well, I mean, I think part of the reason you do that is because it draws, it draws
Okay, well, you
attention
can.
to.
Again, I sped it up a quarter speed because this is drawn out. Again, another woman who gets on and tells me why I do what I do. This is, and I'm going to tell you, ladies, that is so disrespectful.
Oh, it's so
But that shows
minimizing.
the women will say that there's not a low level lack of respect or low level contempt and lack of respect for black men, but your actions say different. When you can come to a man and tell him why you believe he did something is disrespectful. When you stand in that person's face and the human thing to do is to ask them a question. But you believe you know us so well. You know us better than ourselves. Truthfully, most of you feel like you're telling us something that we don't know. We know we do what we do, but you honestly believe that you're telling us something that we don't know. That's why that's why many of you are so pressed on getting us told to get us back in line like we're your children. You're not a mother. No. See. We don't ask men questions. We tell them what we do. You tell me what I do. You have a chance to ask me any question you want telling me about.
Okay, so why do you do that then? Like, why did you speak to her that way?
Because it was deserved at that point. Did you watch the entire 23-minute video?
Hold up, I'm sorry.
Excuse me. Don't. Please don't.
The PhD.
Like, if you have a PhD.
I'm a PhD.
Into the mega PhD.
His PhD trolling that he's doing is because he had this one caller and he asked about her husband and she said, her husband? I have a PhD. I don't need a husband. So it's a play on that. So it's a little inside baseball.
Oh no, into the mega PhD coming through like Godzilla. Oh, whoa, let me check you. Let me get you told. Let me tell you, hold up. See, if a man had did something like that in a conversation with a man, somebody's jaw might get broke. You ladies are out of line when you deal with men. But you don't see it that way. You see it as though you're righteous and we're wrong. Is that Rochelle?
Watching her.
Yes, it
Is that
was
Rochelle?
Rochelle, but
No,
Yeah,
that's not gonna work, man.
Okay,
You don't have to be here, man. You don't have to.
Oh no, I'm about to leave, but real quick. So your advice to men is to tell women.
You are not tripping.
She left all right. She left.
Yeah, he doesn't allow anyone to control his show. You don't get the last word unless he gives you the last word. It's very, very he's on top of his show. He wasn't gonna just let this woman just start ranting,
And on the last
interrupting his
call,
original conversation with someone else.
you would think she would know better. But no,
Instead of
no,
just
no.
allowing someone to say,
I'm
can you
an
elaborate on that
Let
point?
me tell you about yourself before I. So, ain't that exactly what they accused me of doing? On the way out the door, throwing something at somebody? Hypocrisy. Again,
Kevin, that was not nice.
Whoa, why was that not nice? She was being
That's
rude.
how you
How
have
was
to
that
do
not
it.
nice?
That's how you have to do it.
Stop. That is what the black community is used to. One way aggression. You're used to women being able to be verbally aggressive and abusive to men, and we're just supposed to take it. I won't.
Was that woman? So the reason why
Ma'am, let me finish let me also say this. That woman is a professional. You know how to conduct yourself, but see, the thing is, black men are men not. There is a low level contempt and lack of respect for the overall black male image. So when black men finally respond, you question us as to why we responded. Well, I tell you what, if Isaac and I were dialoguing back and forth, we would have to understand that there's a line that we don't cross because there's a low level threat of violence between men. Between a man and a woman, you guys have no consequences. You're completely protected to where you can see a woman who's 5 foot something, 100 and something, calling a 6 foot, 300 pound, you punk motherfucker piece of shit, nigga. And that has an effect. Men are not doing this anymore. You want to be respected? I have hundreds of hours of me speaking to women with respect because it was given. I mirror back what I get. I don't understand. Well, and if you think, and if you ladies need to understand something, men are sitting back listening to how you talk to another man that you have a disagreement with. You don't like what I did, but instead of just saying, you know what, you're a grown man, it's your platform, you have the right to do what you do. Shit was fault on both sides. No, I'm gonna get you told. Let me tell you what's gonna go on with you. That's not gonna work, lady.
I agree. I think there's a way to like discuss things and you don't have to yell and you don't have to agree. But I'm asking, what did that woman do for you to like curse at her like that?
Ma'am, when you say curse at her like what? Let's be real. What curse did I say?
Well, you called her a broad, and I don't.
A broad is not a curse. Come on.
Listen to how they play slick and loose. What did she do to deserve you to curse at her that way? And I'm expecting her to come back with all these curse words. And she's gonna come back with broad. Where has broad ever been considered a curse word? They were using the word broad in movies in the 40s. Are we serious? You're reaching, ladies. You're reaching to find fault with a man because you don't like the mess. 23 minutes, 3 words, and I have yet to hear somebody come back and say you were wrong or you lied. It was just, you should have just not told her the truth. You shouldn't have said it. You should have did all these other things. Guys, I'm going to play a little bit more of this. You can go see it all after the show. But what you're going to hear in this is the same thing. Your tone. Well, you could have gave her some solutions or options. And what is it? Well, you know what? Let me get to it.
That's offensive. Like, I wouldn't want someone.
But that's not a curse, ma'am.
Well, no, I'm talking about when you said like get the F off of my phone or something.
And I was, we gotta be honest, man. Hold on. See, black women, I was raised by black women, and y'all know how to curse straight. And see, it's hyperbole. You cursed at that woman. Y'all call each other far worse than we ever could. I did. The problem I had with you broads because she was acting like a broad at that point. I called it what I saw. That's what I saw at the point. That was 18 minutes into the phone call. It ain't like she picked up the phone and it was that. And everybody keeps going back to that point. You said broad. You said the F word. You said this. Well, how about this? How come she didn't just decide to say, I'm sorry, sir, I've called it the wrong day. I'll go ahead and book a session. How about that?
That's fair. I agree
It's
with
more
that.
than fair. And I said, well, since you don't want to, and I said it at the beginning, your average fan, you know how this works. Well, come on. I was like, all right, I'm going to do this and use it as a teaching lesson. And that's exactly what happened.
You know
And
what
I
also?
offered multiple times during this. I said, "Man, please don't make me do this. Please don't make me say that. Book a session. I think you need it." But she kept pushing. Well, what did you push to the edge? What should he say or what should he do?
I think just disengage, and I guess you tried to do that. I
Right.
suppose that was your way of
Hmm.
disengaging.
The question I asked is, what should a man do when he's pushed to the edge? And basically, you need to shut up, walk away, just get abused, just get talked to in any kind of crazy way. Ladies, no. The point I want to get to ultimately is, you know, people who are therapists and things like that, healers, spiritual people, kept coming and saying that I should have offered some sort of clinical diagnosis option. That's not for me to do. I do what I do. Again, trying to change what I am doing or what was said. But the bigger part is, I want to see if I can get to it. I want to get to this part. And off the rip, she did. I said, "Why don't you get an app?"
The abuse, while
You know, like I'm not someone.
Well, all the women in my, I'll be honest, they were all born between. Well, let me go ahead and play this part. So much fire for men that you don't. I want to play this part too.
I'm a Sagittarius. I have all the fire in me, and it has taken me years and many experiences to lower my temper and speak to men with respect. And you know,
this is a 33-year-old woman who, and I gotta say, why is it okay to walk through life with these treating men any kind of way because you had bad. Understanding, ladies. That's what this
don't
part
raise your
is.
voice, and I think
Is that
there's
Brittany?
women. You have to work. That's a skill. That's a
Is
skill.
that Brittany? No, it's not a skill. It's not a skill. Let me explain something to you. Explain well. Not a skill. What has happened is women have been absolved of consequences from their behavior. If there's a man here and a man here, and he's a Sagittarius and full of fire, whatever, if he gets in this man's face and he decides to start talking and acting the way some of you women act, somebody's jaw is going to get broken. That's why men moderate ourselves, because there is a line. There is a low-level threat of violence. Today's modern women have been removed from all of that. You don't have to fear a man. That's what I said at this part. You got little 5 foot, 4'10" women talking crazy to offensive linemen. And you wonder why men are not whoop a man's butt, but you talk, but your mouth acts like it can. Men aren't going to tolerate that, ladies. Especially not productive, competitive, successful men who are out here becoming the best version of themselves, getting in the top 20%, top 10%, top 5%, top 3%, top 1% of earners and moving out here. You can try to get them to do it, but they're not. I don't understand why. Well, in our culture, it's been women have been told it's okay to have a smart mouth with men.
Sassy,
Yes.
savage.
Battle. You can't do this. You can't do that. It is a skill for me. While other people, it comes naturally. It's something that I really had to work on. So, Daisy, I do kind of understand what
But
you're
what I'm
saying.
not understanding is though that Sagittarius women have existed for forever, but I'm still not okay. Well, I've already gone over that part, so I want to get to the next part. Then we're gonna open
Rude
it.
or angry or hostile is not.
And if the rank and file man feels like he can't get cooperation, that's what's going to lead to 82% of men saying that they don't believe women are here to be marriageable.
Copies. And one of the things that the author talked
That everything's fine with you. It's those guys. And that's the thing.
It's through me growing up and being around women and also being around them.
Yeah, that part is going to trigger a lot of women right there. But I will tell you, when I got women who are saying, thank you.
Right now who are doing the inner work, but we need our counterparts to join us in that work. And I'm not going to get up here and bash the gentlemen, because there are absolutely some wonderful guys. We had some fellows who came up in there. However, I have to say I'm seeing women, especially Black women, who are trying to look at how and why they've become hardened. We are doing that work. And so I just want that to still be acknowledged. And, I appreciate you bringing me up here, and I'm ready to listen to everything you guys have to say. But if we could definitely acknowledge that, then yeah.
Let me also say something, because many people aren't familiar with the content I made previously for men. Ladies, I will say this. If you're doing the work in your groups, that's commendable. But I will say that men are from what I'm hearing from men, they're not seeing the results. There's just no two ways of putting it. And if the work is being done, the results are going to need to be displayed to the men that you want to change their opinion. No different than if men are doing the work and wanting to change the opinion of women. We can't just do it in our groups. We have to show your work. So before there was high value and all this other stuff, it was hashtag show your work. Ladies, you got to show your work too. I don't want to hear about marriage can't work once. Oh yeah, here's a because at the end of the day, it is our responsibility to build in your nest. There is a reason so many women cannot feel comfortable resting in their femininity, because so many men have dropped the ball. I have. I'm not perfect, and I never try to make myself seem like I'm perfect. You've been divorced twice, that's right, but that doesn't mean your marriage can't work once. Let's go ahead and address that too. For all you people who keep wanting to talk about your divorce, not so what? It ain't about me. Every time you try to make it about me, you're just deflecting. Steve Harvey tells you what you want.
I agree. But I would also say it would be nice to see him with a wife. And they were like, setting some sort of... It would be nice.
Want to hear, and his 3 divorces don't matter. Why? Because he's telling you what you want to hear. But me, that's all of a sudden becomes an issue.
Circus, Afro circus, Afro circus, Afro polka dot, Afro.
People who pander to you, in my opinion, are not helping you. They're not helping anybody. People who pander to any of us aren't helping us. And that's what I'm ultimately getting to. We have to get past ourselves together so we can find one another. We don't have Black family. I'm getting to one part. We're going to keep it moving. Now, we actually have access to these social platforms to... Go ahead.
That's fine. So when your video went viral, I did go listen to it, and I actually went and I looked up your YouTube page.
Oh yeah. I don't want to... I'm not a clinician. I never hold myself out as a clinician. That's why I often say you need therapy. You need to know what those men tend to want. Did anybody Does anybody remember what I asked her? What would you happen to bring to the table for the kind of man you want, what he wants? Did anybody happen to remember her answers?
Did you say she was like a farmer or something?
She
Or that's a
said,
different video?
she said if I
She's
could
a
help,
dog groomer.
she said, well, if he has a
That's
business,
correct.
I can help him with his business. And I said, that's great, but only 20 to 30% of the population really owns a business, so that may or may not matter. Then she said, I plant my own garden
Right.
and I'm into self-improvement and etiquette. Now, I need you guys to understand what it takes to make a man like Isaac or AC Hatchet or a man like myself. We don't come out making what we're making. And I've heard six figures ain't that much. Are we kidding? Let me say this again. Shout out to Brother Dennis Sperling. I'm going to profile a show that he did with several black men who were 6, 7 figure earners, bankers, attorneys. And I agree. The men don't come out this way. And you're about 40 years old before you really got all this shit figured out. So if it takes 40 years for a man to really get his shit together, stuff together, to be the kind of man that can have shoulders to hold up under all this in this new modern world, it's kind of crazy for women to think that they should just be, because you were born, that you don't have any work to do. Men have to work to become worthy. What work must women do to become worthy for the kind of man they say they want? I mean, come on. Whether it's and it's adjusted for income. But at the end of the day, men are being told, you got to go improve. You got to go do this, in order to be on the level, to be acceptable and suitable, to be a father, a husband, or whatever. You got to go get better. And for men to hear that was the extent of the curiosity that a middle-aged mother of a 13-year-old son had about a man, that's disheartening to men. But we'll get focused on what I said versus what she was saying to her son and men.
I think she
I
brought her
agree.
weight. I think she brought up her the physicals first.
Type of amount. But would you say, because you're saying because she wanted this, she's 35 and she had this a child and a questionable baby's father, because of that, that's going to limit her to getting the man that she wants? What about character?
Well, with two answers. One, character is a different discussion from what I had. Just like his faith. I've mentioned character, but it's not what I'm concerned with primarily. I am not a one-stop shop, and that's what we got to stop doing, trying to make it about everything. And the men, there have been at least 3 panels of black men on YouTube, attorneys, bankers, physicians. I'm actually going to put them up on my channel next week, of men discussing it, men in the very category. And you know what, the men in the very category, even on other platforms that aren't necessarily friendly to mine, men are saying the same thing. Where I'm at, I would want a woman primarily with I want her to have no children, and I prefer her to be younger. This is what the men are saying. That's what they're saying. Ladies, that's just the truth. You're going to have to accept that. There was a point that was made in the broadcast, or a Brookings Institute study, Hafez made the point that when asked what women want in a man, the number one response was they want a job. When men were asked what's the number one thing they want from a woman, in this particular thing, to have no children. But here's the thing. There are more men with jobs out here in the open dating market than it is women. When you start looking for 2 variables, employed you start looking for 2 variables. There are more men out here who are employed and looking, and men. One of the biggest complaints is men are coming back saying, even if you do find a woman, far too many of them already may have a child. I know that troubles some of you ladies, but that's big for men. And see, that's another thing. We're going to start doing multivariate analysis versus just one thing. If you find somebody out, I cannot tell you how many times I've talked to a guy. He's like, I met this woman. She's perfect in every way. When he says, but I know what he's going to say. She's got a kid. She's not a, and it only further complicates it if she's not a divorcee. Ladies, men aren't going to change. So is it going to is it 100% no? I said what I meant. She said I said get on to the next part.
She can date someone who also has a child.
What do you think the option is? Since I don't get into that part. All is a retirement strategy. Hit the lotto. He could work. No.
It's available online. I would challenge them.
Life is about choices. Let me go ahead and let that play.
Share the numbers themselves.
Okay, the median.
We always assume that the guy is an individual who's going to have no standards and a woman to not have a child. So one of the biggest quoting on his show, and one of the things it talks about is when they ask women what is the number one trait that you guys want in a marriageable man, the number one thing women said they wanted was a guy who has a job. When they asked men, what's the number one trait you want in a marriageable woman? The number one thing that men said is to not have a child. So one of the biggest things I'm constantly hearing is whenever a woman has standards, she creates her rules. I want height, I want money, I want this. Then she wants a guy. The rule is always that guy that she wants is not going to have any standards. Well, that guy just only wants, what if he just wants it for a character? But why won't she just want a guy for his character? Why does she need that money? Why does she need that height? We don't question her. We always assume that the guy is an individual who's going to have no standards. And a woman can ask for whatever she wants, and there's no standards. So I would advise men and women to get curious about one another, see what each other wants. And the biggest thing, like I keep on saying, is look up the information, do your research yourself. Brookings Institute article, Google search it, is there a shortage of marriageable men? And it really breaks down that in the Black community, when you look at women who have jobs and no kids, and men who have jobs and men who have no kids, there are more men than women. When you use those two variables, you can look it up.
You ready for that? In the Black community, when you look at men and women, both who have jobs, there are more Black men who have jobs and no kids than Black women who have jobs and no kids. The numbers are firm things, people. Firm things. So if you're a woman that's working with no kids, that should be good for you. But if you're a woman if you have a kid, you got to understand that men don't want women to come with pre-made families, and you have to compensate for what that liability. I'm gonna call it what it is. You're gonna, if you want a certain caliber man, and there are going to be men that don't want to deal with you. Just like Hafez was saying, you women, when women make standards, it's okay, but you expect a man to have no standards, and they do.
Online's public data.
Just by the numbers. Then when you start adjusting for age, make $75,000 or more. That's median earning of Black men in this country. $41,054. That's the median earning for Black men. All other men, well, this is white men, 52,400. Okay, 13% of Black men make $75,000 or more. That's just 75. When you take it over 108 or 6%, depending on what numbers you're looking at. So it's numerically
I'm gonna give you a tour like this. Hit the Cash App. $ Elvis Rosenberg.
She gets to decide where that bar is and for its.
Listen to this part very well, ladies and gentlemen. Pay attention. This is a foundational problem right here. Yes, she gets to decide where her bar. Okay, but let me ask you this question. Yes, you're right. But this is a market-based economy. You own a car. You can decide whatever price you want to pay on the car. But who gets to decide? Who gets to decide how much it's worth?
The person who's selling it.
Wrong. The market decides. The market always decides. Oh, ma'am, yes. That's
You
why
can't sell a Toyota Camry for $400,000. You can't sell a Toyota Camry.
Excuse me. Hold on. That's why there's a Kelly Blue Book.
But there's always someone willing to buy at your selling price.
Danielle. We're educated people. We're intelligent. The market decides. This is not a Kevin Samuels concept. It's product theory. The market decides.
Well, that's y'all's take, and I respect you guys' opinion. In my mind, we all
It's
get
not
to
an
set
opinion.
our price, and if someone wants to pay that, then they have the option to do that.
Right, but they are part of the. So in other words, you're looking for a sucker. If you want to set your price higher than the market, you're not looking for a good deal. You're not looking for reciprocity. You're looking for a sucker. And men don't want to buy a lemon or be a sucker. That is what you're saying, ma'am, in a very dressed up way. Trying to sell something for more than the market because you feel like it's worth more. If the world was a marketplace, it is. What is the Kelly Blue Book value of you, ma'am? Ladies, what's your Kelly Blue Book value? This is a real question. What is your Kelly Blue Book value? That's the sexual marketplace value. If you've ever bought a car before, you know that whatever car you want, make, model, year, there's an acceptable market value. There's a low and there's a high, and there are a lot of variables. But what does not change is you cannot go sell a Honda Accord for $400,000, no matter what kind of Honda Accord it is. And that's what so many women sound like you expect, because I know everything. This is very important. I'm going to let it play with my God. Market. That's the thing, man. Okay. You can set your price, but you look like a woman. You shopped before. Go into Neiman Marcus. Go to Neiman Marcus and try to set your price for what you want to pay. See how that works.
Hello. Hi, I'm Carla.
I have a real quick question for you. Based on what you've been saying,
So
just fine.
we as national, as the people.
Which means I think that's the disconnect when it comes to men and women. I think that a lot of us women, we aren't very logical when it comes to relationships. You know, it's kind of like how you brought in, you know, the Kelly Blue Book, it's the marketplace. It's all about numbers. And when it comes to women, we've been fed all these fairy tales and, you know, that, oh, we deserve love. And while, yes, we do deserve love, but everything's still a numbers game. And you can have any man that you want if you play the numbers. If you do all the things that requires you to do in order for you to get all the things that you want, then you can have everything that you want. But if you decide to procrastinate or decide that one thing is too much for you to take on, as far as whether that's the fitness or whether that's the, you know, the aspect of your physical features, all these things are changeable. And that's something that I had to learn for myself growing up. You know, we grow up watching the books and them telling us all these things about what love is and what that looks like, and, you know, oh, we have to have a good heart, but they don't actually teach us the.
Let me say this, Danielle. All right. That means 3 out of 4 will marry in their lifetime. You heard? Let me say this. Danielle. There's the statistics saying 1 out of 4 black women will marry in their lifetime. Have you heard that?
Yes, I've seen the numbers.
All right. That means 3 out of 4.
Thank you very much. You are appreciated. We made it to Brooklyn. I'm going to make a U-turn and go home. Boom.